Many stones are told to be precious, but only real pressure forge diamonds. Diamonds are forever.
All right, what is up, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of the Big Eartha Project. If you guys haven't been following along, I suggest you guys go back in the history, but I'll give you guys a quick, brief rundown. So last year, about middle of the summer, I was actually on live. Had some viewers comment in the live stream that I should pick up this heap of what looked to be like an old Power Wheel ride-on Tonka truck for my 2-year-old. So that's what I did. Brought it home. It didn't work. I put in a pedal, put in a power tool battery, and it fired right up. And the journey has taken off ever since. So if you haven't been keeping up with it, like I said, I suggest you guys go back in the history and just keep up with it. Today we actually have some cool, fun things that we're gonna do to it, including installing a brand new Aooga horn, which is the old school one, and then we're gonna screw some rubber onto the front tires. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, so I was actually fortunate enough to pick up an old bike tire from a dumpster. It has been used, and that's okay. All I did was just take my wire cutters and cut the metal bands that hold basically its shape. And what I did was I also took my blade and I cut that entire steel band off. I've actually have a very similar tire on the back. I'm gonna go ahead and double check to make sure I don't already have a similar tire or the same exact one for the front, because ideally I would like them to match, but if not, no big deal. I already got this one prepped, so I could go ahead and just throw that on. Also, I went to Harbor Freight, picked up the old school Aooga horn, and we're gonna go ahead and install that today as well. So let's go ahead, start untarping this beast. And also, one quick thing I noticed too is that one of the welds over here broke. Let me show you guys a close-up of that. So the weld right here broke. I'm actually gonna have a guy at my job help me re-weld that. So it like broke off from up here, like at the bottom of this square tubing. So no big deal. We'll just push that up, re-weld it, tack weld it, and it should be good as new. Alright, so one other thing worth mentioning, one of the last upgrades that we got, we actually installed brand new vinyl decals on it. These are holographic, so if you haven't seen that video, I suggest you check that out as well. Start off by untying that. Just the ratchet strap that secures my son's vehicle to my car. And I'll show you guys what we got for the battery. This is a small 12-volt battery. I'm just going to go ahead and plug this in just so that you guys can hear how the normal sound of the horn is. And this actually powers the headlights, the strobe lights, and the horn. So I'm going to go ahead and install that now. Just so that it's one less thing that I got to do later once I, put the tires on and stuff. It'll be good to go. Alright, and this is how we do that. So if you can see here, this is where one Ryobi battery plugs in. The other Ryobi battery plugs in there. So this is a 18-volt truck powered by, it could be powered by one, but for battery longevity, we power it by two. And this battery right here gets plugged in down here. So black goes with black, red goes with red. Kind of hard to do this with one hand. So that's actually a Mercedes horn. I pulled off of a Mercedes, obviously from a junkyard. Got it for $5, but I want to hear how the Aooga horn sounds. So we'll do that after we install the tires, because tires are going to take a little bit longer, and I'd rather have those on first, just so that way when we go out riding today, later on, my son will have some grip. This is what the tires look like when I screwed on the tires on the back. I actually installed these right before we went to go pick up the Christmas trees for Toys for Tots. And when I tell you, they put in some really decent work. There's a small gap in there, but not really anything that's super noticeable. It took me forever though, and then it started like drizzling when I was doing it. It was horrible. So let's go ahead and get started with the tire. As you can see, the strobes automatically turn on whenever I put the truck battery in. I have a switch in here. It should kill it. There we go. Sweet. So I actually got some 1-inch self-tapping screws and got my Ryobi drill with the number 2 Phillips head bit. So we're going to go ahead and get started on that. I think I got a 4 amp battery on here. It's plenty. It's actually overkill for this project. I could have got like probably like a 1.5 amp battery. Would have did me, more than enough juice. So one thing that I actually resent doing is actually cutting the tire in half before I put it on the truck. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay the tire out and stretch it out before I go ahead and cut it. So what we're going to do is lay that as close to center as possible. Then I'm going to get a self-tapping screw. You're going to want to get a magnet on the end of your drill, because if not, it's going to be super aggravating. And I'm actually thinking about getting some Velcro strips so that I can permanently attach them to the tire. And then any new rubber that I get, I will put Velcro lining on the inside so that you could just unvelcro it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a second screw right here. And these are 26-inch tires that I'm putting on. So the reason why I'm putting 2 screws is because 2 is better than 1, and the last thing you want is this coming off. So you want to lay the tire flat, and I apologize for that dog just screaming in the background like he ain't got no kind of sense. So part of what took me so long was just me stretching out the tire and trying to keep it flush and flat, because the tighter it is, the better the results you're going to get with the grip. So what I was doing was I was stepping on the tire and trying to rotate it at the same time. So that's why I said I resent doing that the first time, cutting it. So let me see if I can flatten this out. There we go. And you want it as close to center as possible. So what I'm doing is I'm actually twisting it towards you and then holding grip on it. So I'm going to load up my drill with the screw, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to screw right behind some of the grip. And then so that way I know that it stays flat. Kind of turn the wheel a little bit, get another screw, load it up. And I'm going to do it every couple of notches or so. There we go. Now I'll let up off my foot, and then I'll lay this out as best as I can. pull that really, really tight. I'll probably put another screw right here. Because it's actually starting to go a little sideways, which is to be expected because I'm holding it at an angle. Lay that flat. When I tell you that night I was doing this by myself, and I was out here for what seemed like forever, to be honest. Then I actually had a neighbor come out and talk to me, which prolonged it. But there we go. Keep it stretched nice and tight. Get a few more lathe screws, which are the self-toppers, you know. The idea is you want to lay it as flat as possible. And what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to, we're not even halfway around the wheel yet. Try to lay this out as flat as possible. If you have a friend, I suggest you have them come over and help you out with this, because this is no easy feat by yourself. Like holding tension on the wheel. Is no easy feat. So before I stretch it again, because it's starting to get a little harder, I'm going to load up the screw on the drill. And if you guys haven't done so already, make sure you guys check out the merch on our Shopify, and our Etsy link is down in the description box below. Alright, so stretch this out. Yeah, you can see how much it'll stretch whenever you pull tight on it. And at this point, if I run out of tire, it's all good, because I can just, you know, I have more tires in the back of my car I can use, so I don't have to worry about the gap and stuff like that. But I do want to make sure that it's nice and flush, because what I was doing, I was putting this, I was taking the screw, screwing it through the tire, and then through a loop on my keychain, and then pulling really tight. And the reason why I want to invest in some Velcro strips is just so that I don't have to keep putting holes in the tire, and that weakens the structural integrity of the tire over time. Now we just got a little bit more left to go, which will be right about here, but I'm not gonna cut it just yet. I want to stretch it and then see where it leads me, you know? Get another screw. Try to line up that tire. Oh, I think I'm on metal right there. There we go. All right. And then just to be a little extra on the safe side, we'll drive a few extra screws. Just so that if a few break off or pop out or something like that, you don't have to worry about it as much. And then I did bring my blade, so anywhere where there's like decent gaps, I'll put an extra screw. Doing that really makes your hand cramp, I tell you. And this is just so that my son, when he goes off-roading and stuff, his front tires aren't sliding. But because this truck is a 12-volt truck on an 18-volt power supply, there's very little traction on the front when it comes to high-speed turns, and you got to make it a little safer, you know? All right, cool. Now, before I let this side go, I'm going to add another screw where, yeah, I sure was on metal on metal. I'm going to put another screw right behind this one, just so that in case that screw decides to break off or pop off, I know I'm double safe. There we go. Now we'll cut it. I picked up this handy dandy little blade from Harbor Freight. I think it was like $5. All right, so that's done. Now, if you can see, it kind of overlaps there. I don't really want that, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to undo this screw, back it up just a wee bit, and then I'll cut the excess off. Kind of glad I drove the second screw in there. Yeah, I don't really want it overlapping, so I'll put that screw up there. And I will cut the excess. Like so. And then I guess I'll just re-drive the screw in that bit. Cool. Alright, so that tires are fixed. I'm going to go ahead and do the other tire off camera, and then we'll get to the horn. Alright, so the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to prep the truck to remove the horn. This is the horn right here. And to the best of my recollection, it only has one screw that I can feel. So I'm going to go ahead and take this DeWalt and try to find where it's mounted. Got one screw tucked up in there. Alright, so I finally was able to get this undone. So before I cut any wires or anything like that, we are going to go ahead and open up this horn and just see how big it is and see where we can fit it. So alright, let's pull it out. Oh, it's really stuck in there. Oh, look at that. It already got 2 terminals. And I might just be able to pry the terminals off of here and there and just put it right onto there, and then just figure out how to bolt it and mount it. So let's go ahead and do that. Grab some pliers. Got 1, 2. Put that Mercedes horn over there. And I guess we'll just plug one into each and just see if it works. Put that right there. And now I'm going to go hit the horn button, make sure it works. Before we mount it, you know. Oh, that is sweet. Yo, that is so sweet. Oh yeah, that is awesome. Let me I'm gonna flip them around just to make sure that the sound is the same, or if it's different, make sure that I got it in right. Same thing. Sweet. So now we just got to find a mounting point for it. So let me go ahead, disconnect it, and find a mounting place for it. That is freaking sick. I'm so stoked. Alright, so I actually found a mounting place right here. I mean, it actually feels really rigid right there. Doesn't really feel like it's gonna go anywhere. And it's tucked behind, you know, this bar. So I'm gonna try to see if I can wiggle it over just a little bit. I mean, it fits like right there. There we go. Sweet. Couldn't ask for a better fit, man. Really couldn't. And you know, these go right up there. And these are right up against the headlight. So what I'm gonna do is just try to shift this over just a wee bit, bring it down. Try to get some try to get a couple of zip ties around it just to make sure that with vibration and stuff it's not going to come out or come off. And that's really wicked. I love when a plan comes together, especially on something that's just extracurricular, you know, because there isn't a place to sneak it behind here, I don't think. Let me see. If there is, I'd be really surprised. Maybe if I loosen this screw a little bit. Let me try that. There we go. I can pull that out. Get my zip tie up and behind there. And wrap that and just keep pushing it. Keep pushing it so it comes out over the top. And I feel it. And I'll bring it down. And then secure it like so. Set that bad boy right up there, you know? Alright, so what I'm gonna do is trim anything that I can right now before I finish this pyramid. And I don't think it has to be super duper tight. It's just want to make sure it's gonna stay in place. Get that screw. Put that screw back in there. And I'll try to get another, before I do that, I'll try to get another zip tie on it on the back side, right here maybe. I don't know. Let me see. Maybe see if I can get a couple zip ties around that. I tell you, Harbor Freight got all the good stuff. I don't go there for like any of my real serious tools, but the stuff that I do find there, okay, trying to string it. Got it. There we go. And string that through. Wiggle this over here. So what I'm gonna do is cut this, because this one is gonna get tucked away like so, and then I'll just pull this one. Pull tight on that. Clip that. And come in and clip that. Cool. Now we'll put the screw back in. All right. Now, oh, sorry, didn't mean to hit you guys. Alright, now I know this looks like a big, huge mess under here, but I don't know, for me it's kind of organized. And what I could do is while I'm here, I could just zip tie everything up. I know it's a mess, it looks like a mess, but I'll just throw a quick little zip tie on here or something, I don't know. Before I do that, I'm going to find the prong. What's my... Two. Here we go. And before I set this down, I guess I will zip tie this stuff up. Up and out of the way, and I will cut that, and my stuff is pretty much out of the way. We're going to do one more test run of the horn and make sure it works. So you guys can see the horn right there. 3, 2, 1. Yep. Here we go. Sweet. Alright, so that was pretty fun. It didn't take as long as I thought it was going to take. I did get both tires on. I'll show you guys. This is the passenger side tire. This is the driver's side tire. Driver's side tire isn't as stretched as I would have liked it to. I actually had to use a separate strip of tire to complete it. Not that big of a deal. Excuse me. Not that big of a deal. And yeah, after I go charge up these batteries, this truck is going to be ready to rock and roll. Not saying that the batteries aren't charged, but just want to make sure before we go exploring in the wilderness and stuff like that. The last thing I want is the batteries to be dying and stuff like that. I always bring extra gear with me. So I do appreciate you guys watching. Make sure you guys smash that like button, leave a comment down below, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and a happy new year to everyone that's watching. And I'll see you guys on the next video. So, and make sure, again, you check out the link down below for the description for merch, and check that out. And we should have some new merch coming out pretty soon. Still working on some prototypes. So again, I appreciate you guys watching. Stay tuned for the next video. Later.